Hello, I'm Patrick Magee.
I'm Patrick Ochs. We're Sports Guys, Week 1.
We're here to talk about Friday night's big games. I'll be talking about Moss Point, Pascagoula, and also the Ocean Springs Brandon game.
I'll kick things off talking about the big action on Friday night. We got the Shrimp Bowl, kicks off every season. We've got a couple pretty good games again this year. We got Gulfport and Long Beach kicking things off, and then we've got host Biloxi playing high-powered offense in St. Stanislaus. Pretty interesting games if you ask me. You got a couple teams in Gulfport and Stanislaus that are looking for more. Both of them had successful regular seasons and came up just a bit short of their goals in the postseason. And then you got Long Beach and you got Biloxi that probably had disappointing seasons by their own words, and they're looking to build on them moving forward. In that first game, it's pretty interesting. You got a team in Gulfport that returns a lot of experience. They have 7 starters on offense, 9 on defense, led by Carlos Dillard. I keep wanting to call him Carlos Dansby. And I think Gulfport would take that if you had Dansby on the defense. But just as a sophomore, he was one of the better defenders on the coast a year ago. And then you look at the offense, they have Cleveland Ford back. They've got Lorazzo Shugart back, and he'll be complemented in the backfield with TQ Newsom, who was actually Long Beach's quarterback a year ago and played in the Shrimp Bowl. They have a pretty good combo there. You got Lorazzo, who's kind of the shifty guy, can get outside, kind of a home run threat. Then you have TQ Newsom, who's kind of a more between the tackles guy, will fill that role. Dion Cole left. Big question for Gulfport that I have is, Alton Connerly saved their bacon a couple times last year. Some big plays, some big catches, big returns, played well on defense. I'm curious who maybe steps up and takes over that role this year. And then you look at Long Beach, and they've got a couple different quarterbacks that they're still filtering in. They've got Jaden Evans, who's actually at Gulfport a year ago, and Cade Crosby, who's a freshman. Forrest Williams said they're going to rotate the guys through, and it's still a battle heading into the season. It might take a couple games to figure its way out. You look at Friday night's game, I just think Gulfport has too much experience. I think maybe there's a feeling out period that lasts a half, but I think the second half, I think Gulfport pulls away for maybe a 14-point win. And then in the nightcap, personally, I think these might be two of the more entertaining offenses, I guess, to watch. You saw Biloxi firsthand last week in their jamboree against Pauperville. They had some big home run plays, but they also made some mistakes. And you're going to kind of see that. Bobby Hall talks about some inexperience and having guys kind of grow up. The ever-quotable Bobby Hall said last year's offense was more like bear hunting with a switch. Well, now they've got a new quarterback in Tucker Thomas calling the plays. For the third time in Bobby Hall's career, they've gone from under center to more of a shotgun, still running the option, but he'll have some threats downfield when you got Tim Jones and you got Fred out there that maybe adds a little versatility. Plus, they've got a pretty good running back duo in Nick Ross and Martell Turner back. Then you look at Stanislaus. What more can you say about the Rocket Chaws? They've got a list of who's who on offense. They've got 3 kids they already committed, a fourth that could commit at some point during the season. Might wait till closer to December. I think it's going to be kind of a shootout in a way because Stanislaus, they're still going to be looking for some guys on defense to step up. Ricky Schaefer is going to be a leader there. Leo Roos is a new guy they got in from Newman. I think that might be one of the more entertaining games on Friday. I think Stanislaus wins in a shootout maybe by 21.
Moss Point, Pascagoula is the battle of the cats. It's talked to Lewis Sims, the Pascagoula head coach, earlier today, and he's been around that rivalry the better part of 3 decades, either as a player for Moss Point, coach for Moss Point, now the head coach at Pascagoula. And he says that rivalry really hasn't changed at all. Moss Point isn't quite the powerhouse it used to be. Of course, it was one of the best in the state. Right now, it's trying to make its way in Class 4A. But Moss Point's got a chance to be a pretty good team this year with Omni Wells at running back. You really saw him catch fire in the playoffs last year. He had like almost 400 yards in one playoff game, a crazy number. So this Moss Point offense, as long as it's run well, they can really put up the points, and they didn't do that last year against Skula, but you have a more experienced offensive line this season, 4 juniors that all played together. That line averages about around 290, 300 pounds, big, strong line with Omni Wells running behind it. So Moss Point's got a chance to run the ball a little bit, and that's really a matter of who is able to run the ball better. And Pascagoula may have the 2 best running backs on the coast in Reginald Hunter and Javaris Walker, both seniors. Walker missed last season with injury, but I don't see him really skipping a step after coming off the knee injury. And Reginald Hunter, of course, is highly coveted. Louisville, Tulane, a bunch of schools really looking at him. I know he feels like he's maybe got a little bit something to prove, maybe even get some better offers this season. At the end of the day, I think Pascagoula's just got more players right now than Moss Point does. James Jackson, the big, strong guy on the defensive line and offensive line for Pascagoula. He's a senior, a Mississippi State commit. Rasheed Jackson at the defensive end. Southern Miss offered him in the last few weeks. So Pascagoula's really got players on both sides of the ball. Moss Point may have a hard time slowing down Gula, so I see Gula probably winning by a touchdown or two. When it comes to Ocean Springs, Brandon coming in possibly everybody's really considering them the #1 team in the state. They've got their quarterback back. They pretty much got all their running backs returning. I think a total of around 15 starters, offense, defense. So Brandon's coming in as a heavy favorite. Ocean Springs, I think the system that Ryan Ross has really put in effect there has proven consistent now. He's really competing in the region, hanging with a lot of good teams. I think of all the other teams on the coast, his teams have done a better job of playing teams up north. They went to Brandon last year and really gave him a good game. Brandon coming down here may be a better team, but Ocean Springs, I think if you got 4 or 5 starters back on defense, pretty much replacing everybody on offense except for Austin Williams, the senior receiver who's a Mississippi State commit. The question for Ocean Springs is how is Malcolm Magee, a first-year starter at quarterback, going to do? He's a better athlete than Drew Wyndham was at the quarterback position. We'll see how he can throw the ball. They're really confident that he can get the ball to Williams. That won't be a major problem. They're just going to plug in the same running backs like they've had the last few years. They're still going to be able to run the ball, but Brandon's just got so much experience. It's just hard to see Ocean Springs really hanging with them in this situation. First game out, Ocean Springs may need a few games to really kind of get their footing. So I see Brandon coming in and winning, but like I said, another touchdown or two. Other games I'd like to touch on, I see Resurrection beating St. Patrick and also St. Martin beating Poplarville.
I have George County topping Gaucher, and then I have Van Cleve getting a win over Stone.
We appreciate you watching. We'll see you next week, and we'll see you Friday night at the games.